Okay, here we go. It's my first test video on the ATV going hands-free on the camera. It's just my cell phone. Anyways, just will do a quick tour today. This is also just a test and to give you some context, you the viewer, as to what's going on around here when I'm going to be displaying some projects. And so we're going to just drive around the property a little bit. As part of this motivation is that it's like what is this? Hashtag stay at home with me, something like that. So I know a lot of people are kind of stuck indoors and wanted to share a little bit of what I can here. This is a whole village. This is where I live now, and pretty great place. We are open to the public about twice a month typically, but with the current situation, we're not accepting visitors right now. But check out our website, and you can see we do orientations regularly and work bees. You can come and volunteer, do some farm work with us, and I'll give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on with the property. So I'm gonna bring the speed up a little bit here because we've got a while to go. This ATV is 100% electric powered, so it's a lot quieter than your typical ATV. It is four-wheel drive, but all four wheels are kind of independent of each other. There's a differential in the rear and two motors in the front. Anyways, so this is the main parking lot. If you're going to come as a visitor, we ask that you come to this parking lot here. That's the main entrance. This is this building we call Greenhaven. I passed another driveway back there, and I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, why not, right? So let's go this way. We got our laundry line. We got our fields out here. There's a lot of gardeners live here. I'm more of the tech guy, so. If you're really curious on coming to live with us, because we do have some vacancy, it is kind of an expectation that you do participate in the community. This isn't just a place to come in and retire or whatever, right? Like, this is part of the project, is that this is an intentional community. So this is this back area here is we call the ring road. And this is kind of the back door to the facility. We have a thermal solar panels there that helps give us hot water, and we have in-floor heating throughout the building as well, and the solar helps us with that. I'm hoping to add some photovoltaic at some point to give us some electricity, mainly to charge gardening tools and this ATV, for example. It's going to start small and then grow bigger from there. So that's where I live. That's my place right in there. That's my back door, and if I'm coming around the back, if I need some privacy, I'll go in that way. But otherwise, I go through the common area, through the main door. There's a lot of cleanup that needs to happen, so you're kind of seeing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff here. That's fine. More authentic that way, right? So sometimes people get lost when they're coming here the first time. They'll end up on this particular road. It isn't necessary. This is just for the residents, and it's not even well maintained in the wintertime. So the main road you want to be on is up here. So when you're coming down the driveway, you just keep going straight, and then the main parking lot. So that's if you've stuck with me in the video that far, I promise it will get more interesting than driveways and parking lots. Let's go this way first. So here we have the Csa Shed. That's usually where the tractor's parked. Tractor's in the shop right now. And our barnyard. Let's dismount the ATV here and go for a walk. Gotta make sure these are closed. We do have cattle, and some of the young ones do like to get out and explore. And here's some of our chickens coming out They see me as the food guy, and we got Ken over there doing some chicken chores. Hey Ken, I'm just doing a video. One of our barn cats. This is the friendlier one. And there we go. So, let's see if we can get up close to some of these. Nah, not right now actually. Yeah, they're getting chickens are getting fed, so they're not going to be too interested in what I'm doing. Yeah. Oh yeah, they see me as the food man. They want to come over, but they're not that affectionate. They don't like interacting with people that much. They're livestock, right? I did name them all though. I gave them a name. I named them Chicken. That's Chicken, and that's Chicken, and over there's that black one's also Chicken. Moving on. I'll come back to that later. So we used to have pigs. This is before my time, but that stall is just full of rye bales right now. We use that as straw bedding, and this is where the cows come in and out. I don't know if there's any in there now. Oh yeah, they're in there eating. Let's go take a look. I don't know how well the camera will adjust to the brightness. Oh yeah, there's this cat here. So this cat, there's another barn cat. It's the opposite of this cat. This cat's friendly and nice. The other cat is mean and nasty, and it always gives this cat a hard time. Doesn't let it drink its water, so I always feed the water over here. And somebody often dumps this water container, so I don't know what's up with that, but this cat is always asking me for water. These cows, this is we're feeding them hay. This is hay that we grew ourselves. We baled it last year. We'll be doing another hay baling session this June, so we always ask for help from the outside for that, and that means like we're looking for volunteers and things like that. We get your own a really nice organic cooked meal. You get to hang out with the cows and with us, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah. So these cows, not very many of them have names. They just usually go by number. We can do dairy, but right now no one has the gumption or the will to actually do some milking. If we can turn the light on, but I'm going to bring a flashlight with me. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So there's the rye stack that I was talking about. In another video, I'll show some of my chicken chores. And here's some chickens that find their way in here. Hey, chicken. Doing a video. Coming out. Hands free. I can ride the ATV that way. Oh yeah, we got 2 ducks as well. Hey, duck. I didn't bother naming them though. So we get our free-range eggs, totally and organically fed as well. And we don't even ourselves. I don't even get free eggs. We gotta pay for them, and the reason is for that the chicken feed that's certified organic is actually pretty expensive. So, and when you're raising chickens, you can't just let them forage 100%. There's not enough bugs and stuff like that to. Yeah, those chickens will be alive, but they won't lay eggs that much. Like for egg production, you got to feed them extra. Okay, so let's continue on. Yeah, so there'll be if you come for an orientation, you'll get more of an idea of what's going on with the different fields and the different things they're growing. Yeah, I'll come back this way. We're gonna backtrack, I think. I'm not gonna do a full tour today. This is our scrapyard. Not gonna show you too much of that, but that's where a lot of my stuff that I'm interested in comes from. Like repurposing old junk and putting it to good use. So this is the back entrance to the pastures. just yesterday I was fixing this electric fence. It got knocked down over the winter time. That willow tree busted and just kind of wrecked everything. This is about 3,000 to 4,000 volts, so it will hurt if you touch it. Let's see. Here we go. It will also short circuit if it's touching metal that's going underground. Come on, get away from there. Okay, so that opens that up. That opens that up. Yeah, actually this is one of my tasks that I meant to do. So now that area is completely separated. That fence is now not electrified, and this area is still closed off. The cows won't come out, and the grass isn't ready for them anyways. It's too short, and they'll just trample it down, and we'll get stunted grass or something like that. So again, I'm not a farmer. I'm not a cattle guy. I'm barely even a ranch hand. Again, I'm an engineer and I like fixing stuff. So one of the things I was helping with was the fence, as I mentioned. I came out here yesterday to do some repairs and fix some faults. And I meant to close these gates, but then the battery was getting low on the ATV, so I had to call it quits. But it was dinner time anyways. It's hard to get my hands in the shot so you can kind of see what I'm doing. This rig that I got is really experimental. Again, the point of this video is gonna be long, but you know what else are you gonna do? You're in social isolation. Just sit there and shut up and watch the video. That one's already closed, that's good. Down there is already closed. So beyond those trees, that's a neighbor's property, and but there's another tree line actually directly in front of me right there. I think that's the property line. So that field, that's whole village, and the field next to it, that's whole village as well. Those tall trees there, that's whole village. I don't know if it shows up on the camera, but you might be able to see telephone poles. That's the driveway that I came in on. And so that is the west side of the property that I'm sure that you can see now. It's just fields for growing that hay that we're feeding the cows. That's so they can have something to eat during the winter time. That is also organic. And we're not certified organic. This takes a lot of bureaucratic effort to be able to get certified, but we are pesticide and chemical free, and it certainly helps the bees, which is something that I can swing around and show you near the end. For now, I'll go up onto the east side a little bit. There's a very nice view, a very tall hill. Right here is one of the first pastures. We're going to be expanding the pasture past this. This was previously unused, and so again, one of my jobs here is going to be so this meadow here is going to become pasture. It wasn't really used for anything else, and we have some restoration efforts going on with this tree planting, so we got to work around that. And yeah, hopefully that'll give the cows some more space. Right, let's back up a little bit. We're going there right now. So again, this is getting into our northeast field, and there's this tower over here that kind of does nothing. It was like a weather sampling station back in the day, but it's not really connected or doing anything. I don't know what the story is, why they put that up. I think in theory they could put a wind turbine up, but there's some easements, a conservation easement on the property to reduce property taxes. So the limits on the stuff we can and can't put up. And technically, I'm not even supposed to have an ATV, but this I brought that up, and this qualifies as a farm vehicle because it's used for farm work. It's a workhorse. It's not for recreational use. I'm not doing this just to rip around. And even right now, even though I am having fun, this is part of like community promotion, right? And it also helps with your own mental health. It gives you something to look at while you're stuck inside. So this path continues on, and at that back tree line is our hardwood forest. It's mostly maple trees, and we do maple syrup in the far back corner. That's a different pathway to get down there. I can go show you that. It's a bit of a drive. And there's a whole, it looks like almost like a Christmas tree farm, but that's just more restoration or planting trees. The pine trees, they grow a lot faster than the deciduous trees, and they do well in the cold winds out here. It's pretty windy, especially in the wintertime, and it kills a lot of the saplings for the smaller hardwoods. But that adds a good windbreak, and that enables, once those pine trees go up, it enables better growth for the deciduous trees, which we do want as well. Awesome views. I don't know how well they show up on the camera. It's very beautiful out here. This is just early spring. Today's actually April 7th, 2020. Got 11 degrees on the dashboard. It's actually warmer than it was this morning. It was only +3 Celsius. I don't know who else is going to be watching this. Let's put the fence back where it was. It's just part of being responsible. Okay. Oh, this actually goes over here. Here we go. You can hear that tick sound. That's the spark from the high voltage. If we don't fence them in, the cows will wander and they'll get into the neighbor's property, and it's a big problem. So we got to fence them in. This doesn't do anything for coyotes and things like that. Although technically, I have the impression that it'll help with bears. We don't really have any bears in this part. I've heard rumors of neighboring counties having the odd bear every now and then, but nothing out here. Now, normally I wouldn't really care, but being the beekeeper here, I am concerned about bears, and bears do have a tendency of getting into bee yards and messing up the place. Over there to the right is the entrance to the hayfields, two of the big ones anyways. And we have some permaculture here on the right. Raspberries, some Asian pears, and a few other things. Or a compost pile here on the left. Oh yeah, so just gonna quickly circle around and show you the bees. See how well that goes. This should be warm enough for them to be out flying. Oh yeah, oops, backwards, you stupid ATV. Alright, so we have this extra sugar stores from last year. It's getting ants in it. I don't know what to do about that. This is where I want these cleaned out because I'm going to be using these in swarm traps. So this is extra stuff that the bees made and filled up. There's a better example over here, I guess. Just take off my gloves. And normally the bees would come in here and just rob it out, right? They just love sugar syrup. This is mostly sugar. This is not real honey. This is we fed them sugar syrup last season, and they were accumulating out front. So we give them something to do. We let them make some beeswax, and they stored that sugar syrup that we're giving them. And I stored it over the winter, so now we can feed it to them in the spring. But they're just like not hungry because they have tons of good stuff. So. Down below is the brood box, brood chamber. That's called a deep. The box above it is called a medium. It's also called a honey super. So last season we had queen excluders between the brood chamber and the rest of it. A queen excluder prevents them from laying eggs in the boxes above it. So we made sure that every beehive had one honey super full of honey to survive the winter, and they barely touched it actually because they backfill their brood chamber for the winter with all the sugar syrup we gave them. Now they have all this honey and they still have a little bit of sugar syrup left over. They're not hungry for sugar. They actually want pollen because that's the thing that they want right now, because they use pollen as a protein to raise more bees, get more baby bees going on. And I'll do a more focused video next time. But the idea here is, you see those little white clumps on the bees' legs. That's pollen, and they're just bringing it in like crazy. They're more interested in pollen than nectar right now. It's a nectar dearth. There's no flowers out. Well, yeah, there's a few early bloomers, but again, the pollen comes first. The trees are pollinating, but no nectar. That's what that box is for. Is to give them nectar if they want it. They're taking very little of it. I need that emptied out so we can use it in swarm traps. Anyways, you can tell what you want to do to the bees. Give them all the instructions you want. They're not going to listen. They're bees. Okay, let's move on. How are they doing as well? They're doing great. Okay, excellent. Moving on. Gloves back. Take the scenic route actually, and then I'll come back a different way again, so it minimizes backtracking. So we also have these two fields here. Last year they grew rye in the field on the left, and this year they're going to be doing a different experiment in terms of no-till and making lots of compost. We have on the right we have organic strawberries. And they're really good, being Ontario strawberries. Yeah, let's go this way. We have two greenhouses up ahead here. Both of them are in full swing right now. I'm not going to go in there right now, though. I'm going to go this way. So here's our orchard. A lot of the apples here aren't not that good, actually. A lot of bugs and stuff because we don't spray any chemicals on them. There are other apple trees on the property that produce really good apples, but last year these apple trees weren't that great. But maybe this year will be different. I don't know. Again, I'm not the farmer grower guy. The other thing to mention about this spot biochar site. So all this pile of mess and junk. This is for making biochar, which is great for enhancing compost and adding life to the soil. So that's our kiln is a big cauldron where we can make biochar. That's a whole nother thing. I'm not going to get into those details right now. Up ahead is our pond. There's no fish in that pond because there's no oxygen. It's kind of spring-fed from all the hills around. It's sandy soil, and it just kind of filters all the rainwater and it accumulates at the lowest point, which is here at the pond. Okay, moving on. So there used to be bees here a long time ago, and there was a shack here on the left. On the right is a neighbor's field, so that's our property line. Up ahead here we have some cabins available. We sometimes rent these out, or we put volunteers in them in the summertime. They're still closed for the season. The outdoor water is still shut off. We have a composting toilet over here on the right, and actually I passed one earlier, I didn't mention it. Yeah, composting toilet. And this is again part of the scenic route. I don't normally go this way. There's some trailers up there, they're not occupied. Again, same thing as the cabins. We put some volunteers in there sometimes, and anyone else who's visiting who wants to rent them. Again, right now there's no visitors, but you know, in the future, this event, worldwide event that's going on right now isn't going to last forever. Okay, so here's our northeast field. Yeah, northeast. That's what I pointed out earlier. That's the hardwood forest, and that's that knoll over there. That's a pretty tall hill, although on the camera it doesn't look that big. Yeah, so this is our CSA field. There was no CSA farmer last summer, and right now we still don't have one. We're looking for one. I'll get to the farmhouse on the way back, and that'll be the end of the video. So this is our rear driveway. This property used to be addressed on Mississauga Road, but right now it's on Shotts Creek, which is where this video started. So this used to be the driveway back in the day. And when I go check the sap for the maple syrup, this is the way I go. This is the way I prefer to go anyways. This ATV, as fun as it is, it doesn't really work very well in the snow. It's quite disappointing actually, but you know, it's not a snowmobile, so that probably has something to do with it. So let's go a little faster. So there's that hill that I was pointing at. There's some, I don't know if you can see those birds showing up. They don't really show up in the camera. Anyways, yeah, so near the back exit. Oh wow, almost 30 minutes into this video. Okay. Parking brake on. Normally we keep this gate closed. We've had issues with people wandering in before. And that'll do. Just so you know, nature reserve. I live on a nature reserve. Isn't that cool? Anyways, just show you the one of the maple sap totes before we get to put away. The season's essentially done, but there might be a little bit of sap in there. Parking brake brakes off. Let's go. So this is the Mississauga Road. Yes, it does always go to Mississauga. This is the very end of the road. Just slightly up there is a dead end. That's where the end road ends. It's a dirt road as well. The paving ended a few blocks back. It is, okay. So that's our tote for the maple sap. There's essentially no sap in it at all. The trees are done. Let's just turn that off. Get out here. So this is an alternative way of getting in and out, but we've had some people trespassing recently, so I put this fence back up. Yeah. So this is the commercial operation of how to do maple sap. The lines are tapped in and comes into this tote. We have 3 totes in total. Even though we still, I don't know how much sap. I'll do a maple syrup video later, but just wanted to show you in context of the scope of the property and what's involved in getting around. All right, here we go. Close this gate. It's a little hard with this camera mount on my freaking chest. That'll do. That's just for irrigation water. That's not for maple sap, but it came from the same guy. So here we have some more of our traditional buckets. We only put 6 up just because eventually we're gonna have way too much. We've already passed that point actually. We end up dumping it in the totes to get processed into maple syrup. But this sap on these trees is for drinking. Oh, it's empty. I got about 2 jars worth yesterday, and they were still dripping. They're now, these days with the warmer weather, they're attracting their fair share of flies and dead bugs. That last one had like 3 moths in it. I don't know if I want to drink that, even after boiling it. Oh, that actually has quite a bit in there. See that in there? That's quite a bit. That moth is still alive. So, the last few maple sap harvests that I got out of here, they don't just do not go straight to boiling. So, and normally, and especially when there's still snow on the ground and there's no bugs, you can drink the sap right out of the tree. We filter it, of course, because sometimes moss and tree bark gets in there. But these days it's bugs, and bugs carry bacteria, and I don't want that. So I boil the sap just once, and I'm not bringing it down to syrup, and it makes a really kind of a sweet water. I call it maple juice, and then I add like lemon juice or something like that. It makes an awesome lemonade. So that's our farmhouse. It's a kind of historic building. It's constantly under renovation. There's a couple living there now, and that's their car. And they're helping us with the restoration of the property and some farming practice stuff and things like that. But they're not food farmers. They're more like nature farmers. This is our Csa Shed. This is where I park the ATV. I parked my car there in the wintertime too, but I'll show you what's going on over here in a second. Our red shed, that's I like to use that as my workshop, but it's only really for woodworking and other welding and things like that. My laboratory is actually in my apartment. So we harvest wood using regenerative forestry from the wood lots on the property, and it's pretty sustainable. It's a constant flow of wood coming out of there, and we use that wood to heat the farmhouse, and we use it on the masonry heater. Oh yeah, so this tree here, it hasn't fallen over yet, but it's getting there, and that's one of the roots falling out. So once this thing reached a certain threshold and the ground started thawing, I stopped parking my car in there. We have a tree guy coming next week, and we're going to cut this thing down. So this scenery might look a little different in future videos. Those scooters there, those were mine. I picked them up yesterday for free. They're going to use them for parts. And that rig is for setting up the electric fence. That's my trailer I use for things like that. And yeah, I think that is going to cover it for today. Thanks for watching. And stay tuned. There will be more.